Everybody, welcome back to the Clemson Tiger Wire podcast. My name is John. I'm your host today. Thanks so much for joining us, whether you're joining us via audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever that is, or if you're joining us on YouTube for the video episode. Thanks so much for joining us. We're really glad, and it's awesome being able to see this Tiger Wire community continue to grow. So thanks so much for giving us a listen. If you want to help us out, give us a review, share it with some other Clemson Tiger fans. Let's just continue to grow this community. Join us on social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all those places at the Tiger Wire. So join us over there. We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts. But hey, we're excited. Today's going to be a great episode. We're going to walk through today's game with Clemson against UNC. We're a little upset. Check the tagline. But no, we'll walk through that game, talk about it a little bit. And then we're also going to go through and have a fun. We're going to kind of draft a 3-on-3 team, the ultimate ACC 3-on-3 tournament. And we'll get to that in a second. But before we jump in, I want to introduce some guests for you. You already know them, but we're going to bring them back out. Welcome back. We got down at the bottom, we got Anthony Morrow, Corporal Anthony Morrow. Put respect on his name. What's up, sir?
Thanks for having me back.
I got you. Yeah, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it. And then up here, we got over here. I messed that up.
Yep.
But wherever it is. There it is. We got Michael over there, Duke Blue Central over here having fun. Michael, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, Anthony, we got to talk just real quick. NC State leading the ACC. Is that going to continue?
Yeah, it's exciting. First two ACC full action games. Notre Dame's been a shock. It was a good first game, and then Virginia was pretty much a blowout all day today. Got up to I think 21 points. So excited to see where they're going to continue to go. Big game against North Carolina coming up, so that'll be a real test for us.
Yeah, well, if you can hit threes, you'll win. But we'll get jumping ahead of the gun. You talked about Notre Dame, Michael, tonight with Notre Dame.
Yep.
What's your thoughts?
Tough win for the Dukies today over Notre Dame, but boy, is it better to have a rough win than a great loss. Love it. Love having the rough wins rather than taking the L. But no,
seems to be Notre Dame's going to be a tough place to play for the ACC this year.
Maybe I don't know, but facts being facts, Duke didn't play very well today. I mean, I would say potentially our two best players, maybe two of our top three best players had, I think, their worst games of the season, and Duke's still able to pull it out on the road. So I feel confident. Tyrese Proctor didn't score any points today. Flip went 2 for 12 and finished with 7 points. I feel confident saying I don't think that'll happen again. And we still won. So as we got a lot of stuff to work on, but this felt like a game Duke was supposed to lose, but we were able to win. So you feel good about that, but we've still got a lot of stuff to work on.
It's something about playing at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't know.
State shot 28% against them and still pulled out.
They talked about that. Yeah, talked about that a lot on the broadcast. And I was telling before the show, last year, this Duke team needed like a game-winning 3 to beat Notre Dame, and even they were bad last year too. And so I don't know if it's there's a certain level, like when you play Duke, you're going to play up, but especially at home. But I don't know if it's Notre Dame. I really like their coach. I like what I'm seeing from him. But yeah, got the win, and then you burn the tape and you move on from that game.
All right. Well, yeah, Duke had a good win. It was good to see that. NC State's playing really well to start off the ACC. 2 good wins, one also against Notre Dame. So y'all teams look like they're doing well. Switching it over, Clemson is not. Yeah, they're not having.
Still doing okay.
So, I mean, I feel like so far we played 2 ACC games, one against Miami, we also played earlier on in the season. We beat Pitt, but we played Miami Wednesday. That was not pretty. Not pretty at all. Dabo actually talked about it in the press conference tonight about how he's still upset about it. And then we played North Carolina tonight. And so let's just dive in. I was actually able to go to the game, work some media coverage live at the game. So y'all were actually watching on TV. So I'm excited to hear y'all's perspective about how that went, because you probably got a different viewpoint, different side, different camera angle shot. So what y'all think? Let's talk about the game.
I think the first half, y'all were y'all were in it. Y'all were playing well. Early threes weren't going the way, but they were finding a way. Ian, my man, he was balling out. He gave it his all. North Carolina wasn't playing too hot, and it seemed like a totally different team once the second half started. Though I don't know, something was said in the locker room about the threes, but it seemed like for the first little bit is every possession they were shooting a three, and it wasn't not a bad idea by no means. But I don't know why they were getting away from getting it inside to PJ and Ian. I think that was what they needed.
I definitely think first half inside ball was killing it. I mean, you get it down low, it's working. I think the first half we shot 6 3-pointers. We missed all of those. And then Clemson's a team that the three is huge. I mean, we're averaging just under 10 made 3-pointers a game. We're shooting like 47%. The three is a huge part of our culture. I mean, you're averaging almost 30 points just from the 3-point line every single game. It's huge. That's a huge part of who we are. And so I agree. I think you go 0-6 in the first half, then you come out in the second half and you go 1 for 12. Like, what are we doing? That first possession in the second half.
Sometimes the three's just not there.
It wasn't.
You got to find a way to score.
That first possession in the second half, Joe Girard gets the ball. He gets a great open look at a three, clanks it off the rim. Of course, PJ Hall pulls an amazing offensive rebound, passes it back out to Joe Girard, misses another three. Yeah. Ian Shefflin gets an offensive board and makes a layup. That describes our game tonight. That was what it was. Yeah, 3 points. If you couldn't tell, 1 for 18. 1 for 18. We're usually 47%, 9 or 10 made threes a game, and we made 1. That is.
I will say, listening to the broadcast, they kept talking about how North Carolina always gets to the line a lot. Shoots a lot of free throws, and Clemson did a very good job of staying out of fouls. I know PJ got a foul very early on before the first TV timeout. He got a foul, so he seemed like I felt like they took him out way too early, and didn't give him as much in the first half. But ultimately, he ended up with I think 3 fouls, maybe 4 by the end.
He had 4. He was playing rough foul trouble, sitting, come in, sit the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't speak for Brad, but I felt like he took him out a little early in the first half. I think he could have stayed in there a little bit longer. But yeah, he's got to be a little more self-disciplined because it seems like these first 2 ACC games starting out is the foul trouble is catching up to him because he fouled out against Miami, correct?
I say yeah, and actually fouled out against tonight too. He did end up fouling out with a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 in a row, 2 games in a row for him fouling out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the nerves or what it is, or just the playing ACC. But yeah, they need PJ, so he's got to figure out a way to not foul.
In the press conference, Brad actually talked about it. They asked him, they're like, "What's going on with the foul trouble? Is that something?" I mean, and Brad made a good point. You talked about we've played 2 dominant big men so far. I mean, I would say outside of Duke, outside of Clemson, you got Burns up there for NC State, but I think Miami's big man was a killer. They scored like 22 points. And then you got Armando Bacot. When you're playing those big, strong, physical guys, there's going to be fouls called. There's going to be bumping. There's going to be physicality that comes a part of that.
And I don't know if that's something Brad could look into is like maybe letting Ian Shefflin move over a little bit. Because, I mean, he was able to get 34 minutes tonight against North Carolina. So if he's able to – and 1 foul. So, I mean, if he can somehow balance him, maybe move PJ to power forward for a little bit. Just to kind of balance that out a little bit. It might help.
Played great. Ian had a great game. We'll get to him in a second. Michael, what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I just think we talked about it in our preview of Clemson, how the Stars have to play well in big games and have to have the ball in big games. And they had the ball today, but they just didn't show up. If I'm looking at the box score right now, PJ Hall went 4 for 13 and Joe Girard went 1 for 10. So add that up. That's 5 for 23 between, I think, who you'd call Clemson's best players. That's just inexcusable from them against a North Carolina team who doesn't hang their hat on defense. I do think they played pretty good defense tonight, and their past 2 games they've played better defense. But this Carolina team is not a lockup. I mean, both guards are below 6 feet. Girard should be shooting threes over them all game. and making them. And maybe just the shot didn't go tonight. But you gotta have a better performance from those guys. And like you said, I think Clemson right now, says they're shooting 39% on the year from three, which is still like top 10. I mean, that might be adjusted after today's game, but
Yeah.
that's really high 3-point percentage. And they again went 1 for 18. A big part of that was PJ and Joe Girard not hitting any of their shots either. But you got to have more from them. And here's the thing about Baycott too is Baycott is not. He's a good player, but he is not this lockup defensive center. Like that's not who he is, and he's really not as physical as some of the other guys in the ACC. And PJ Hall not being able to work him down in the post, I think, is something he's got to get better at. For a player of his caliber to go up against Baycott defense, I know Baycott does a lot on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively has never been his strong suit. PJ should have been able to score on him more than he did today, and he couldn't at all. So your 2 stars just had an egg and didn't really show up. A couple of their points, even I think PJ finished with 10 points, Girard with 5, but even that, like 3 of Girard's points were from the free throw line and 2 of PJ's were from the free throw line. So that's it's really even a worse performance than what the box score says. But yeah, that's for me what it came down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll be honest. I think if you look at the game, and I was talking to a guy that I went with and a guy in the press booth about this, but I think if you look at the game and you tell me the stats that happened, you tell me the game that went, you tell me the score, you tell me how it's low possessions, you tell me that it's a slow pace game. I think every single thing went exactly where Clemson wanted tonight, except we didn't make the shots. Mm-hmm. I think everything else went exactly according to plan. We kept the ball slow pace. We kept the ball not pushing the ball. We didn't. Carolina tried to run it. We didn't try to run with them. We didn't try to let it be a shooting match. With Carolina is always a high paced team. They're always a high scoring team. We didn't try to do that at all. We tried to slow it down. We played half court ball. There was multiple
RJ Davis
times.
Only with 14 points.
Exactly. He had 4 at the half. I mean,
yep.
I think Bacon had 7 at the half. It was we kept their 2 biggest players low. I think we performed everything that we needed to, except for our best players didn't score. 1 for 18. If we shoot 33%, if we shoot 33% from the 3-point line, and that's still not a great percentage. That's 5 more threes. That's 15 more points. We're up by 5. Granted, if we make those
33.
Exactly. Granted, if we make those possessions change, you don't have different things. Of course, you can't just say that. But 33%, completely different ballgame. Yep. And I'll be honest, the score doesn't even show how close of a game it was either.
Yeah, y'all were in it right there at the end.
No. It got spaced out by the free throws at the end.
We didn't score a point in the final 5.5 minutes. Not 1 point.
Man.
If we had 55, I think it was 55-51. Let me check and make sure on that. I'll double check. Second half, let's see. It's loading. Yeah, we had 55 points. It was 55-58 with 5:06 left. We were down by 3, and we didn't score another point.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You can't do that. And that's not the first time we've done this. In Memphis, we didn't score in the final 7.5 minutes. So apparently late game problems are going to be something that Clemson's got to work through this year. It isn't the first time, and we'll see if it's the last.
I will say this, and this goes back to the last podcast that we joined you on about when we did our rankings. I'm looking at Clemson's bench. 2 points off the bench. And again, and that also, you said you have some injured players that are coming back hopefully soon. Clark, one of them. But somebody's got, especially if your starting 5 aren't gelling and they're not making shots. So somebody's got to find a way to score. And I know Hunter, the little brother, he played 26 minutes and didn't score anything. It says he only took 2 shots, but bench production's a big thing. So I don't know if that's something. I don't know what Brad needs to do to get those guys in there, but I mean he's getting them in the game, just not scoring. So that kind of hurts 2 points.
For sure. I think you look at them. I think RJ Godfrey come off the bench, had a decent game tonight. Didn't play terrible. But I mean, he had that huge block. Did y'all see on TV?
He was doing really good on defense. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Could you see on TV the little scuffle that happened at the end of the first half?
It did.
That was, I thought it was gonna get chirpy. Then it extended on to the second half when what's his name? Carmichael? Is that his name? Carmack Ryan. Cormac,
yeah.
Cormac Ryan, when he dove at
Was that when he hurt his leg?
Yeah, Joe Girard, when he dove at Joe Girard, you got a little chirpy there. There was some physicality in this game, and RJ Godfrey was a huge part of it. And I think he battled with it. He just took two shots and made one of them.
Aren't like record breaking on the box score, but his defense was definitely needed, especially with PJ going out for sure.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about this game, I think there is one bright side other than our defense. I think our defense is a bright side, but I think, like you mentioned, Ian Shefflin, what a hoss! I mean,
100%.
Let's just his stat line. Here's his stat line. He went 5 for 8, 6 for 7 from the free throw line. Finished with 16 points, 5 steals, 4 blocks, 11 rebounds. 4 of those are offensive rebounds and 2 assists.
That's what I was about to ask you. How many were offensive? Because it seemed like he was grabbing them.
You can't ask for more.
I mean, what was that? 5 steals, 4 blocks.
Yes, exactly.
So that's probably I don't know. They get all the steals back. I don't know how many of the blocks went Clemson's way, but that's potentially 9 possessions of offense that was created by one player.
That's wild. That's a wild stat.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the press conference, it was kind of funny. They started asking Ian questions. Ian was the only player for Clemson represented, and they started asking him questions. They're like, Ian, I don't know if y'all know this, but Ian's the second best 3-point shooter percentage-wise in the ACC. He's shooting like 56% from the 3-point line this year. Granted, he's not shooting a lot of them.
How many is he taking?
It's more than you would think. Like, it's not a lot, but it's a decent amount.
When he takes him, means money.
Exactly. He's shooting 57. So they asked him in the game, they were like, so why didn't you shoot? You didn't take one attempt this game, and y'all were 1 for 18. And he was honest. He was like, look, I can hit them when I shoot them. They just didn't come to me, and I was more valuable on the offensive boards. And I'd say that was a fact for sure. But he was great.
What do you think about Clemson? Kind of they lost the rebounding battle by 11 today. Did you see that coming? I wouldn't.
I did not at all. I think coming in this game with PJ Hall, Ian Shefflin, even Chauncey Wiggins usually gets some boards. You got all them.
Had 1 rebound.
Yeah, that's rough. Very rough.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming either.
Not at all.
Got,
but I do think
Acott pulled down 16. I mean, somebody's got to box him.
That's kind of what he does. Like he sucks in those rebounds. That's kind of his. That's
for a reason.
Yeah, that's his calling card. But I think Clemson overall will be just fine. I think this is a loss to a good team where you shot the ball horribly from 3. Your 2 best players didn't really show up at all. I guess PJ did get finished with 10, but I even think that's a little inflated for how it felt. Like his shot when he scored his points, the game wasn't over, but it was like Clemson was really going to have to dig it out when he started scoring. But I doubt that'll happen again. Hopefully for them, if they're wanting to go where they want to go, that hopefully can't happen again. I think Girard specifically probably had his worst game of the season tonight. I don't see him. 1 for 10. Like that's crazy. That's crazy for him. I don't see him shooting 1 for 10 again. Let me ask a question to you guys. Do you think this game speaks more about Clemson or Carolina? Like, does this game speak more to like, wow, Carolina was able to dig out a tough win, or does it speak more to like Clemson just blew that?
I'll be on. In my opinion,
didn't blow it, but they played really poorly.
In my opinion, I think it's negative on Carolina. And I say this for that reason, because I think you have a good Clemson team who came out and shot the ball terribly. And it was a 3-point game with 5 minutes left. We hit our first 3 with like 6 minutes into the second half.
Yep.
That's a team that's part of our identity is that. I think the fact that Clemson had such a terrible game and it was a close game till it got to the end when it was foul time and garbage time, that speaks terribly on Carolina, in my opinion.
Yeah. Even though Clemson's one of the better ACC teams.
Yeah.
But if teams shoot against them, yeah.
What do you think, Anthony?
No, I agree 100%. I think it was it wasn't a great win for North Carolina overall. If they would have came out and like blew Clemson out of the waters, but they let Clemson hang around, and that says a lot, especially with their poor shooting performance tonight. Unfortunately, North Carolina let them hang in there, and they're not going to be able to. Other different teams, if they're not having a poor shooting night, it's not going to be fare well for North Carolina in the long term. So I think it goes more to how Clemson played today, and they're going to shoot better. Luckily, they have. Excuse me. Luckily, they have some games coming up that hopefully Clemson will be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with both you guys. I do think if there's a positive for Carolina fans to walk away with is that their defense has improved over the past 2 games, 2 ACC opponents.
Seems like they care more.
Yeah, they've held them both pretty well below their season average, I believe. So maybe this team is growing defensively, but as far as everything else, I mean, I've said this about Carolina from the beginning, but I do feel like they're too reliant on their 2 guys. I think, man, I just keep thinking.
I will say they did have some actual help today.
They did. Yeah, today was better than most days. But gosh, I still just feel like Davis and Baycott are like even just one of them having an off night or going down could be so detrimental to their record. But they were able to pull it out today. So that's credit to them for taking advantage of a bad shooting night from Clemson.
Yeah, they had everybody was playing well for them. I mean, they had a guy off the bench, Peyton. I don't know, say his name's Wolschkick, something like that.
Yeah,
gosh,
made that
he hit that when it was 45-45. The crowd was getting into it. I don't know if y'all could tell, but so many times throughout the game tonight, Clemson was the crowd was into it. They were getting loud. Everybody was standing up. Everybody get into it, and then they'd hit a shot that just tore everybody down. It's like Little John is great because it's like Cameron Indoor. It's like so many schools in the ACC. When the crowd gets into it, it really thrives. And it felt like the crowd got here about 4 different times, and every time they couldn't get here, Carolina would quiet them. And one was that one time when Peyton Washkick, which is averaging like 1.4 points a game or something, hit a
Where did he
massive
transfer
three.
from? Do you know where he transferred from?
John doesn't.
Brown.
I do not know.
Oh.
Brown.
Well, he had
Ivy
10
League.
good minutes on the court tonight.
Ivy League, yeah. Only shot the ball twice, but one of them was good.
And Cormac Ryan had a very loud 10 points. Gosh, I say that 10 points, it not that much, right? 10 points isn't a lot, but it felt like every shot he hit was crucial.
His 10 points seemed a little bit more, definitely. Crucial is a good word compared to like PJ's 10 points.
Exactly. Yeah. Very different 10 points. I think last player I kind of want to talk about, and we can talk whatever y'all want to do, but Chase Hunter, gosh, I'll be honest. I don't know if y'all have listened to the last episode. I kind of got a little, I talked a little bit negative about Chase Hunter. So I'm just going to publicly say, Chase, I apologize. I stick with about 60% of my thoughts. I'm saying all this like Chase is listening. We'll see. Chase Hunter, if you're listening to this, awesome. But no, I talked about last time when the game doesn't need to be in his hands, and how he isn't the player to take over. And tonight he kind of did take over, 17 points. He had 3 turnovers, which weren't the best, but he went 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. But I will say this in my defense to all that. Yes, he had a great game with 17 points, but the ball was in his hand, and look at the outcome. We still lost. So part of my argument is still there about needing the stars, like Michael said.
Him and Shefflin were your
8 for 14, and you're getting on him. 17.
I'm not getting on him. He had a great game. I'm just saying, when he's our star. Oh, for sure. When Chase Hunter is our star, he's great.
I get it.
He made some great spots. We lost. I mean,
you did lose. If I would have told you pregame, Scheffler and Hunter are going to be your 2 best players, you probably would have been worried.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like, where'd the other guys go?
Yeah, but talking about Carolina's defense, going back to that, this was the first time since 2014, 2015 that they held 2 ACC opponents under 60 points back to back.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Who was there? Pitt was there.
Pitt, yeah. They held Pitt to 57. So Pitt scored more against Carolina than Clemson did. Told you they'd be good.
Yeah.
I think you got from Clemson side though. You gotta be happy with only holding North Carolina to 65 points.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from that perspective, and honestly, a lot of that was late game free throw too. This was really like if this game is played to the wire, it might be a 60 to 58.
It's like an old Virginia score.
Yeah.
But I think moving on, we got a tough game next. I'll be honest, the scheduling committee was not too nice to Clemson to start the ACC period session. Start out at Miami, home against Carolina. Then we go to one of the hardest places to play at Virginia Tech on Wednesday.
Tech's always a tough one.
So I think we got a tough schedule there. But I think if we can go to that game, it's another ESPN game. We got 3 straight ESPN games. Don't know the last time that happened for Clemson basketball.
For the brand.
Yeah. They're going to put you on the CW?
No, we're on ESPN2 on Wednesday. So, yeah, you figure it'd be something. But, no, it's going to be a great game. Hopefully, we can use this. We can be like, all right, let's make sure we learn how to get in the paint. Let's make sure we know what to do when our shots don't fall, because that's basketball. Basketball is going to happen where your shots aren't going to go in. You're going to have nights where you're missing everything. You're also going to have nights where you go out and shoot 70% like we did early on in the season against a smaller opponent. But we got to make sure we're prepared for when the shots aren't falling. How are we going to score? How are we going to bully ball? How are we going to use the big men? How are we going to execute? So that's my goal. My goal for them is that they get in there and practice some backup plan, so to say, for when the shots aren't falling.
I think Clemson has 4 winnable games coming up. They got Virginia Tech, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and Florida State. I think those are going to be games to sharpen up before they play Duke on January 27th.
The rest of this season, we only have 2 games as of now that we're not favored in. That's it. We got at Duke on January 27th and then at Carolina on February 6th. Every other game, as of right now, we are favored in. So hopefully we can turn this around.
Yeah.
So what would that make you? What's that record at the end of the year? You would take it. You'd take it.
Oh, you would take it. That's 5 losses on the year.
5 losses, the rest wins. I think.
Who's not going to take that?
Yeah, I think you'd be happy with that. I think any team would be pretty happy with that.
Absolutely. 4 losses in the ACC and a tough ACC. Yeah, you take that.
Well, we'll see. But
what's y'all's opinions on the ACC so far? I know we're a little early. You think they're back?
Wake is back. Wake's looking great, man. My ACC tournament champs. They're a good team, dude.
Both Brad and Hubert commented on the strength of the ACC, talking about that this year is like last year. Last year, it was kind of known that the ACC beat up on itself. That was kind of the phrase that was going on. And they both kind of talked about that. ACC is the best basketball school in the nation. Y'all still stick with that as ACC fans?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get up to the podium and say we suck, but but I think the ACC is better this year than it was last year. And I've always said the top of the ACC, I still think is the best. I think the best teams in the ACC go up against any of the other conference teams, and I think they win most of the time. I think where it hurts,
like the Big Ten right now, head-to-head, right? Last I heard, it was like 9-3 or something.
Yeah, I didn't. The Big Ten's been the most disappointing conference in the past several years. They keep getting high seeds in the tournament, and they get upset every year. I'd have to look back on their like Final Four appearances and stuff like that. It's been really bad for them. But I think the top of the ACC is really good. I think the lower tier teams really hurt, like when you see the Louisvilles of last year and stuff like that.
Historically, though, they're good to have.
Who's that?
Like Louisville.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Historically. Yes. But I think the middle of the pack probably isn't as good as some of the other conferences. But I think the top is as good as any of them.
Who would you consider in that top tier as of right now?
Oh, of the other conference?
No, as of ACC. You're saying top of the ACC is better than the top of other conferences. What do you consider in the top of the ACC?
Duke, Carolina, Miami, and probably for this year, Clemson. And Wake.
3-0.
I'm not. I don't want to disrespect NC State. I'm not disrespecting them. You think they're top of the conference this year? You had them
as of right now, they are.
We'll see. In our midway predictions, we'll see where I have them.
Okay, yeah. Well, no. You had them, 6th or 5th?
That was before the ACC started.
So Clemson has Virginia Tech Wednesday evening for a night game, tough game at Virginia Tech. NC State has a pretty tough game on Wednesday too, hosting Carolina.
Yeah.
Duke, or what's Duke have this week? What's
Duke's
their next game?
Pitt
On
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Good games. Should be some good games coming up.
I don't know. I don't know if it's away or home. Might be away. I don't know.
All right, Duke might be on upset alert. Pitt's
could be.
play this year.
If we play like we played against Notre Dame, Pitt will beat
At
us.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there we go.
Upset
Yeah,
alert.
Pittsburgh 2 of the next 3 games for Duke.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Duke plays Pitt and then Georgia Tech and then Pitt again. Yep. So we're going to be real close with Pitt by the end.
There's a chance y'all go 1-2 over the next 3 games.
Man, I hope not.
There's a chance 0-3.
I mean,
Georgia Tech already
got us.
That's
Revenge
right.
game. We got Pitt up first. Got a rebound from a bad win, but Jeff Capel, Duke guy, knows Duke very well. They've played Duke well. Revenge game against Tech, and then get Pitt again. Double it up.
Y'all lost to Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech, right?
Yes.
They come back. Yep. They come to y'all this time. Got you.
Yep. Yeah. So it's away, Cameron.
Got you. The last thing we'll talk about for this section of the show, I want to ask you this. So one of my coolest things about these working the press, being able to go in the media room, is when Clemson's in the top 25. The AP assigns a top 25 representative to each team. So when the press conferences at the game, someone has to go to those games. And so the guy from the AP there tonight, we were talking to him. I was like asking him how he was, casual conversations, waiting on Coach Brad. And he said, his prediction is that he will not be at Clemson that Saturday because he thinks we'll be out of the top 25. 2 tough losses back to back. What do y'all think? You think we're out of the top 25?
Man. I don't know if I would go as far to say that you're out of the top 25. I will say you're going to be close. You're going to be, I think it'll be like 24, 25. 2 back-to-back losses hurts a lot.
I agree.
Not being able to get a win on this week hurts quite a bit, in my opinion. I think y'all can bounce right back into it if you was to get kicked out. But, yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to look at I don't know how the rest of the teams did.
Yeah.
How did they do? Or I don't know off the top of my head how those teams did, but I'd probably listen to the guy that works for AP.
Yeah, exactly.
he might know, but I know the AP poll doesn't really love the ACC anyway. So any reason for them to dump off a team, I think they'll probably be out.
I agree. I think we're out.
North Carolina. Then you
that's true.
Top 10.
Yeah. Well, Duke's not in the top 10. Number 14.
I think
Carolina bump up. Do they go up?
I think Carolina goes up.
I don't know if any of the teams above them have lost.
Did Seton Hall end up winning today? They played a top 10 team. They were winning last time I checked.
I'm not sure. They played Marquette. Did they beat Marquette?
Let's
if
see.
they did. They go.
They
up
did.
There. I don't think
they beat Marquette.
Okay. So Marquette, Carolina, but I don't think they'll bump them above Kentucky.
That's
did
2
Kentucky
big
end
wins
up winning?
for Seton Hall.
Oh, absolutely.
They beat Kentucky. Is that correct?
Yep. No, they beat Providence their last game on the 3rd. They beat a 24 ranked Providence.
Bro, you can't tell me Duke is not better than Colorado State. What is this for? Let us play.
Sorry, they beat UConn. Seton Hall beat UConn, which was number 5 at the time,
win.
and then beat
UConn
Providence
is so good.
and then Marquette.
UConn might run this thing back.
3 top 25 teams so far.
2 of them were top 10.
Yeah. I think, going back to the question, I think Clemson falls out. I think
I do too.
The fact that both on the schedule, you look at their scores without looking at the game, both those losses were by double digits, and one of those was at home. Yeah, I think we're out.
Miami was unranked too.
Yeah, exactly.
So if anything, I think they'd bump Miami into the rankings.
But Miami did lose to Wake.
Yeah, well,
pretty badly.
Complication.
Yeah,
Wake might get in there. Wake could be ranked.
I think we're out, but I think we come back in. I think give it 2-3 weeks, we'll be back in. So there it is.
NC State is a 3-loss team, 3-0 in the ACC. I think they should be ranked as well.
There it is. Throw NC State in there. Duke number 2, NC State number 15, Clemson number 38.
No, we should be number 2. Okay, we got 3 losses. But we're better than BYU. Man, I hope that I don't have to eat my words on that Elite 8 matchup with BYU or something.
to the Clemson Tiger Wire podcast. Hey, Michael, Anthony, we talked about Clemson. We talked about that loss. I just want to forget about it. I want to dream. I want to imagine. I want to focus on the positives. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a game that I think will be fun. We're going to imagine that the ACC is throwing on a 3-on-3 tournament. So every team in the ACC is combining one of their players with other players from different schools, and they're putting together they're like dominant teams. So there's going to be like a 12-team field of dominant 3-team players. Our goal is we get to pick one person from each of our schools. So one from Clemson, one from Duke, and one from NC State to make the ultimate 3-on-3 team to take on all the other teams from the ACC. Does that make sense?
It does.
All right, so let's before we get to our picks, let's go ahead and think about who would be the best team out of the other teams in the ACC. You got to think Baycott in there.
Mhm.
Who else? Who else is in that team? You don't think it's Baycott?
Maybe Norchad O'Meara. Maybe Norchad O'Meara.
O'Meara, yeah, he had a great game. He had a great game against us. He's really good. Maybe RJ Davis.
Yeah, I'd have him in there.
Anybody else?
Salas from Wake.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
I'd have him. Hunter.
Best player on a terrible team. I'm just kidding.
I'd probably have him, Davis, and either Baycott or O'Meara.
All right, so we'll go with that.
I don't know if you have a good defensive lineup.
We'll go Salas, Davis, O'Meara. That's our team that we're number 1 seed we're going up against. So
they might not be able to guard anybody.
O'Meara, I don't know. O'Meara played
you got
good.
Mintz.
O'Meara, but how is
leading scorer, right, or one of the leading scorers? Henson from Pittsburgh. Post from Boston College.
Oh yeah,
averaging 18.
See, you got good people, and you got to think. You're talking about RJ Davis defense. He just locked down Joe Girard tonight.
I don't. Okay, you said you wanted to forget about the game.
Yeah,
you're right. I'm imagining. My bad. No, all right. So here's what we're gonna do.
That would be an elite lineup.
Here's what I think we do. I think is it more fun if we go through and everybody say their Duke player, then everybody say their NC State, then everybody say their Clemson, or do we just go through and one person says their full team? What y'all want to do?
I don't know. What do you think, host?
Let's draft it. We're gonna go team by team. So
okay,
it might be different. And then at the end, we'll talk about why we went through those 3. That way, because it might mesh a little bit better. So,
all right,
Michael, since we're starting with Duke, you go first. Who are you taking from your Duke player?
Oh, you know who I'm picking. I'll show you who I'm picking. I'm picking this man. For the audio listeners, I'm pointing to a picture of my Duke 23-24 team poster.
Will you show the picture again one more time?
There
Sorry.
he is, 7-foot senior, New York native.
Is that Stanley Borden?
No, we're not taking Stanley. Shout out to Stanley, though. He's a great saxophone player. Duke fans know what I'm talking about when I say that. But you know who we're taking. We're taking Kyle Filipowski, who didn't play great today, but I think is probably the best player in the ACC for my books. He's a 7-foot big man who can get it down low. He can dribble on the perimeter. He can shoot threes. I don't know how I would pick anyone else from this Duke team, unless I'm going to go wild card from the other teams. So, yeah, we're picking Flip. Gotcha. Not overcomplicating it.
All right. Anthony, who are you going?
For Duke, I thought about going different, but yeah, you're right. I can't at the end of the day. Lipowski is he's going to be good for years to come. He's going to be solid in the NBA. His stats and stuff. I mean,
he's only in college one more year, so enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't think you can go against him. So that would be my pick for Duke as well.
Got you. I am going to go different. I think Filipowski's good. Nothing against him. I think he is easily the second best player in the ACC behind PJ Hall. But no, for real. So I was between 2. And so the one I didn't go with is I almost threw a sneak in there. I almost went Tyrese Proctor. I almost
thought about it.
But I ended up going with Jeremy Roach. I think he's a scorer. He's experienced. He knows what he's
Duke's
doing.
Most consistent player this year.
You can rely on him. So I'm going to go Jeremy Roach from Duke. I think he's good. So, all right, now going on to NC State. Anthony, who you got?
So this one was tough. back to our last podcast again. We don't have. We're pretty balanced when it comes to scoring. We don't have that one person that's like going off scoring 20 to 30 points each game. I thought about going with Horn. I've also thought about going with the veteran Morcell. But actually, I decided to go with two big men, and I'm going to take DJ Burns.
I knew somebody was going to pick.
I thought you were going to take Ben Middlebrooks.
Middlebrooks is solid.
So you got Flip and Burns.
And I needed a bench player. I might have grabbed him, but DJ Burns, solid. He is electric. He gets the crowd going. I think if you're in the street playing a 3-on-3 tournament, he's going to get everybody going. Right, he's going to grab them boards. He's going to post everybody up, and hit that little hook shot. So
he might take some threes on this team.
DJ Burns.
All right. So your team right now is Filipowski and DJ Burns.
The big boys.
All right, big men.
But
all right,
I will say with Flip, you can put him out as a 7-foot guard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sure. Michael, who you got?
Yeah, I picked Horn from NC State. I mean, he leads the team in points and shoots like 45% from three. So that's what I'm looking for, 3-point shooting for him. I needed a shooter. I needed a shooting guard, or he's a guard, but I need for a 3v3. We need a guy who's gonna scorch it from three. So that's who I went with.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I went with DJ Horn. He's reliable. You got Jeremy Roach dishing him the ball, also scoring. I think easy works. I think that'd be a good matchup. You imagine DJ Horn and Jeremy Roach playing side by side? That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. Might have some defensive limitations, but
just a little. Yeah. Just a little. No, don't worry. And that's why I came in with my third pick. Street ball, 3-on-3 street ball. They don't call fouls, so you don't have to worry about foul trouble, which is why I'm going with PJ Hall. I mean, dominant. The one weak spot he has is fouls. He's 20 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 assists, shooting over 50% from the field. I think you put that big man who can also stretch the floor a little bit, but he can hang out. He could battle with anybody in the post. I think, gosh, that team, that's going places.
Yeah, I went with Hall as well from Clemson. No surprise. I briefly thought about switching it up and picking Gerard and maybe picking someone else, but no, PJ Hall is too good. I think him and Flip would be interesting. He's more of a post big man than Flip is. Not that Flip can't play the post. I think he's great at it, but I think you could let Flip kind of hang around the perimeter. PJ Hall could clog up the lane for you with Horn out there shooting threes.
So I went with Clark. I'm just kidding. I really wanted to. Shout out to Wolfpack. But
that double hernia. You wanted the double hernia surgery right now? That's what he's out with.
Everybody makes a good comeback story. So, for real, I went with Gerard. I obviously with my two big men, I need a little guy that can facilitate and a shooter. So yeah, I'm taking Gerard as my number 3. That's going to be able to bring the ball down the court and pass and shoot if need be.
I thought about it because I'm a little worried about picking 2 big men, but I think they're just
I couldn't go 3. You know,
they're too good for me. Yeah,
as good as PJ is, I couldn't go 3.
Yeah,
both y'all went 2 big men.
Yep.
I went 2 guards. So my team was Jeremy Roach, DJ Horn, and PJ Hall. It was y'all's recap.
Yeah, I've got Flip, PJ Hall, DJ Horn.
Excuse me. I had Flip, Burns, and then Gerard. So.
All right.
It'd be an interesting matchup.
Different teams.
I'll say, do we have a vote who we think wins? Or we're all going to vote for ourselves, right?
You can't vote for yourself, right?
Yeah. All right, well, let's do that. Let's vote. Who do we think wins that you can't vote for yourself?
You can't vote for myself.
Anthony, so you vote first. Anthony, you vote first.
I'm going to go with Duke Blue Central.
Oh, thank you, sir.
For the fact of him having Flip.
Yeah. Oh, so you've got
PJ. Come on now.
Yeah, I got PJ too. So John, you have PJ, Jeremy Roach, and
DJ Horn. Yep.
And Anthony has Burns, Flip, and Gerard. Burns, Flip, Gerard, or 2 guards with PJ. And one of them's Jeremy Roach. Man, I don't know. This is tough. I don't know if DJ Burns having to guard Jeremy Roach or
Nah, he's definitely guarded PJ.
Oh, yeah, but it's 3v. I don't know, 3-on-3. That scares me a little. I might go with John's team on that. I'm worried about Burns having to run the court up and down in a 3-on-3 game with that much space.
Well, 3-on-3, you go half court. Is that not how most people do it?
Is this half court or I don't know? I'm
I think
nervous about his
is when
defense.
you start running full court.
I'm nervous about his defense.
You don't think he could get the crowd electric?
Oh, I think he. That's not a problem.
I'm electric thinking about it.
At Rucker Park in New York, and DJ Burns starts hitting them YMCA moves. I mean, yeah, the MC factor might boost his defensive stats.
Y'all remember NBA Street? Could you imagine those calls that they're making for him?
And you never
he's gonna lay everybody out.
Street clothes. He might be a good 3-point shooter if you throw a hoodie on him or something. So,
hey, I'll throw this out there. Random fact: if it's Slugfest, y'all remember the Slugfest game on baseball where you could punch people and catch on fire?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
DJ Burns would be my first pick to go into that game. That's
for sure. Just running everybody over.
All right, so my vote would be, so right now we got one for Duke Blue Central, one for the Tiger Wire. Oh, that's tough.
Is John just going to make it a three-way tie? And
I'll be honest.
In this segment, is this?
I want to vote. I want to vote for. I want to.
Is that the issue?
I want to vote Burns and Flip because I think that would be interesting. But I think about PJ Hall and Flip. Oh my gosh, I don't know if there's two people out there that stops them in ACC right now. You know, honestly, I think you pick two other people, any other people from the ACC, maybe O'Meara and Baycott, maybe, but I still think Flip and Hall has it. So I'm gonna go Duke Blue Central get to my vote, which means Michael with the win, beat Notre Dame, beat the other two. Shouldn't have went DJ.
I don't know. Yeah, Burns might have done it for you because I don't feel great about Jeremy Roach and Horn having to guard people because they're so small. Not that they're horrible.
It's street. They're quick. You gotta go quick.
And I guess, but on the other end, they've got to guard them. So I don't know.
What would that matchup be if our teams went together? PJ Hall versus Flip. Right?
Sure.
If mine and
Hall
yours
versus
played?
No. If mine and Anthony's.
If yours and Anthony's played,
PJ Hall and Flip.
You have two guards?
Yeah.
And I think you got to put DJ against PJ.
No, yeah, I agree. You can't put Burns on
so
either
then you
guard.
On a guard.
Jeremy Roach guarding Filipowski?
Or you'd have it. Yeah, you would have.
Or you could guard Horn.
You would have Flip Horn or Flip guarding Jeremy Roach, and then you'd have who was your other player? PJ.
No.
And then
I had
Gerard Horn.
And then,
Gerard.
yeah, that's right.
Other guard.
So you'd have Gerard guarding another guard, which that's like guarding RJ Davis.
Yeah.
Or not. What am I thinking? Not RJ. I was thinking of tonight. No, you'd have Gerard. That'd be fine. But you better hope they don't call a pick and roll or something because Burns.
You better hope we're making the shots, not 1 for 18.
They're going to get Burns out to the perimeter. You just got to call a screen, and he's out.
Hold the charge.
Yeah, no switching. There could be no switching.
Yeah,
not at all. That'd be fun. I might pay money to see that. I'd pay for admission for sure. But hey guys, I appreciate y'all hopping on. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Congrats Duke Blue Central for winning our first game. We'll have more.
Okay.
Good job.
We'll have more of that as we go on. Hey, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate y'all jumping on. Again, appreciate y'all a lot. And hopefully this isn't last time y'all see the Tiger Wire this season.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Of course. I'm going to close it out. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you hopping on to the Clemson Tiger Wire podcast. Hey, if you enjoyed the show, give us a rating, share it, subscribe, follow, do all the fun stuff, hit all the buttons. But no, thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you follow us over on Twitter at the Tiger Wire. We got some different stuff on there. We also post some clips, different reels, different stuff on Instagram and TikTok and that kind of stuff. So give us a follow, stay up to date. Thanks so much for being a part of it. Hope keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.